a body check-in. You do the body scan, right? Of
Yeah.
how am I feeling today? What does the body scan look like, and how can that be helpful for people?
Body scan is a lovely one, which is well known all over the place, and it's not just for mindfulness. I was doing body scan type stuff when I was doing theatre training. It's a check-in. It's a check-in with all of you, but it's a consciously aware check-in with all of you.
So being mindful of how we're doing
Mindful of
in that
how you
moment.
are doing it, so you can make it into a ritual. And in fact, it's a guided meditation that I provide, which you can follow. And the one that I've done, I think it takes about 10 minutes.
Okay.
But you can extend that. You can make a body scan last for half an hour if you really want to, or you can use it really quickly and you can do a body scan in a couple of moments. But literally all it is bringing your focus to your body, all of it, bit by bit. Usually
Okay.
start at the feet.
Okay.
So start at the toes. Recognize your toes. Remember them? And as soon as you mention it, I put
I'm
money.
wiggling my toes as you're
You're
mentioning
wiggling
it.
your toes. Exactly. I'll put money on it. As soon as you mention them, oh, look, there they are. We wiggle the toes. And it's that. And it's being aware that that's what you're doing. And then gradually bringing yourself up through the whole of your body, not being embarrassed about any bits of it. Go through the groin, the buttocks, the digestion, all of that. It's all there. Just be aware of how it's all feeling. And any sensations, we're not trying to change anything when we're being mindful. We're not being judgmental. We're just going, oh, that's how I am. Oh, that's it. Okay, that's me. That's my normal resting state. And bringing that right the way through the body, fingertips all the way up to the roots of your hair, and then being aware of yourself as a physical being. And as soon as I start saying things like that, my brain goes off going, oh, that sounds so woo-woo, and you're waving joss sticks and all the rest of it. But I can't think of a better way to say it. You are just
No.
aware of yourself.
And also it's almost comical when you start talking to people about their body. We are in that fight and flight mode so often, and that has so many dire consequences on us physically, mentally, and emotionally, especially in this world where mental wellness is really not a great point for us, and physical, as I said, so many autoimmune diseases. But you start to talk people through their body, like bringing in awareness, and you all of a sudden see people, oh, I'm not breathing properly,
Yeah,
oh, my shoulders are up by my ears, and you
yeah.
see them physically like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
yes, I can relax that now.
And
Yeah,
you're telling the body you're safe in this moment. It's
yeah,
okay to be in that rest and digest. And then the impact of that lowers the heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, um, and means that the body can do its thing. It can digest our food properly. So anyone looking at symptoms like weight gain that they're doing all the right things. They're working out really hard. They're really strict on the diet.
yeah.
Actually, mindfulness offers you a little bit more kindness and compassion to yourself, and awareness of, okay, actually maybe the body needs a little bit more rest at this point.
Absolutely. And that is one of the biggest things that mindfulness can bring to you. It's the ability, you've said it already, the power of the pause,
Yeah.
the power of the moment to just say stop and take a breath and be in this moment and not worry about anything else. Just for that second. And unfortunately, as you say, the stressful lives we lead, we're dashing, we're rushing, we're doing all of those things. That seems almost impossible to achieve. So what it does need is it needs practice.
Yeah.
And that takes us back to, should we be doing this daily? My little tea rituals. Well, I drink tea a lot. So that happens for me a lot during the day. If we can build up during the day, 17 minutes. That's all it is.
Why 17 minutes?
It's been proven that 17 minutes a day over an 8-week period. So they actually did tests, scientific tests, actually on nurses. So
Okay.
why not?
Stressful job.
Stressful job, and the NHS had the access to them. And in those tests that they did, they showed that over the 8-week period, if you could do 17 minutes of mindful attitude each day, so just being calm, doesn't have to be a block, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there. At the end of the 8 weeks, the cortisol level, so the stress hormones in those particular nurses who had followed it through and had done all the things that they needed to, had lowered over
Yeah,
the period of 8 weeks. So it's a
absolutely.
medical effect.
It's a physiological effect,
It
right?
is
On
a
something.
physical,
People think that mental, emotional, and physical are not related, but they absolutely are. And that
absolutely
just
do.
goes to prove it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a physiological response. And the thing that was noted was that those, I mean, people were very honest as they did the trial, that those who had not done this repeatedly and regularly did not have as good an effect.
Okay,
Some
interesting.
effect, but not as good an effect, and
And
not
you
a consistent effect.
and you mentioned that it doesn't have to be done in one 17-minute
No,
block.
no, 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 no. And that's the joy of it. The fact that you can do a couple of minutes here. So how many cups of tea do I have to make a day before I've clocked up my 17 minutes? Well, it's not long. 5 minutes ago, I only need to drink 4 cups of tea, and I'm more than capable of that.
Yeah.
But there's other things that you can do. Mindfulness practice doesn't have to be that formal sitting meditating. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It's a very good thing. It's an excellent piece of training. And if you can get meditation into your week, maybe once or twice a week, then you will feel benefits from it. And you are training your mind very deliberately in meditation to behave in a mindful way. But informal meditation can be going for a walk,
Yeah.
just doing it mindfully, being aware of the fact that it's raining, or the fact that the sun's out, or that there's leaves on the trees, or the birds are singing, anything really. And if you're
And
walking in a city, look at all the faces going by.
absolutely. And one thing that I recommend, again, in this hustle culture where we're comparing ourselves to others who are, they're walking and they're listening to an audiobook or they're listening to a podcast because they have to multitask and they have to layer that dopamine and it's all about high energy. Actually, we're missing the real benefits of a mindful walk where we switch all those things off. We don't listen to music. We don't listen to podcasts. We don't listen to books. We mindfully walk. We walk. I know one of your favorites is feeling the feet as we walk.
Yes.
You look around you and see what there is. You're in that moment. And we've done it. Stop and like walking through a field of wild garlic or the forest with wild garlic. Like, what can we smell? What can we touch? The moss on the trees and listen to the birds. We're lucky enough that we live in the countryside, but also
Absolutely.
it works just the same in the
Yeah.
forest.
And there is a lot to be said also for mindfully doing that in company,
hmm,
connection with others, so that you're putting down the electronics, you're putting down all the things and all the bustle and everything else, and you are paying mindful attention to yourself and another without all of the electronics around it, and really just getting in touch with your feelings, your emotions, your chatting, the fact that you can both find joy in looking at a tree. That also gives you compassion for yourself and for someone else. And that, as a mindful exercise, is a wonderful thing to do.
Absolutely. And I would encourage anyone to do that with their kids too. In
Mm.
my ideal world,
Mhm.
alcohol and issues around alcohol or drugs or over like symptoms of stress don't exist because we're teaching how to be more in tune with what they need and how to be more in touch with their bodies. Sounds woo-woo. It's not. For me, it's the key to well-being. What do I need right now? Do I need more movement? Do I need less movement? Do I need more nourishment? Do I need more connection? And teaching our kids that like we can stop a minute, as you say, put down electronics. They have their place, right? Okay. It does connect kids to a certain extent, but it also has a detrimental effect. So being able to go for a walk as a family and just stopping for a moment and say like, oh, just stop and see what you can see and appreciate this moment. Because again, for me, mindfulness, you touched on it, that it can be really informal, and that's me to a T. So for mine, a lot of it is that first cup of coffee in the morning and going outside on the balcony and seeing what's around me. So it's putting my phone down, not scrolling, and just taking a moment of feeling the sun on my face or
Yeah,
feeling the wind on my cheeks. And and okay, I can hear the birds.
mm,
Um, Putting those small things into practice every day.
absolutely. And it's
One,
repeating it,
yes.
making it a consistent part of what you do, so that it becomes automatic. You mentioned it earlier, it's the automatic response we have.
Yeah.
And it's building in an automatic response of the powerful pause and being mindful.
Yeah.
The more we practice it, the better we get at it. And the easier it becomes to do it, and the more effective it becomes, because we're doing it on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, personally, in my sobriety, and I'm quite open about the fact that life fell apart. And there were certain things where I really attribute the fact that A, I'm sober, and B, that sobriety has led to me being able to pull on practices like mindfulness, to be able to ground myself in the moment. And the same for my daughter when she suffers from panic attacks. It's the nervous system screaming in the body that you're not safe right now. And it's drawing on those. I can sit with her and say, okay, tell me what you can see around you. And she can be in full panic attack mode and her body is shaking and she feels like she can't breathe. And I'm like, tell me what colors are around you right now. Point to something and it just moves her back into that rest and digest.
Bringing everything
down,
and it's a
completely
physiological response.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've both used woo-woo and as descriptions for this, but it's so hard because we use that language and people associate it with sort of hippie chicks and beads and all this kind of stuff,
which I have to.
which I'm happily doing, but it is that physiology, and it's the way that our nervous systems work.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a qualified exercise physiologist who, it used to be that looking at lifestyle from an exercise, nutrition and rest point of view, but actually that rest is almost where mindfulness comes in. It's small rest throughout the day it's respite for your mental wellness, for your physical wellness.
Yes, being able to take that and just incorporate it into your life makes so much difference to the way that your nervous system functions.
Absolutely.